Hi folks, it's Mr. Henriquez, and in today's video I'm going to talk about how you can write a review. I'm going to cover the basics of a review and what parts a review consists of, and in the end I have a tip on how you can get a higher result by simply changing a few words in your review. If you want to skip to the part that is most relevant for you, use the chapter indicators in the bar below so that you can go to that particular part. But first, what does a review consist of? Let's get to it. So, what does a basic review consist of? Well, a review consists of an introduction, it has a description of the thing you're reviewing, and in the case of a film or book, it might be a summary. It has, of course, your opinion, which is basically the review part. And it has, of course, a conclusion and a verdict with a particular recommendation. Do you recommend this thing, film, restaurant, whatever it is, to the person who's reading your review? So you're now ready to write your review. And the first thing you need to write is your introduction. Now usually I would say write the introduction at the end, but since a review is kind of different, you can start with your introduction. Now the introduction is there to give some basic information about the thing or the film or episode or whatever you are reviewing. Make sure to follow the funnel shape, and if you don't know what that is, have a look at my introduction and conclusion video. But it's basically that you start very general and you move towards specific. And you know how general it is, it really depends on the type of thing you're reviewing. Now your introduction might consist of some basic information about the thing you're reviewing. So you might want to give some major characters, or maybe you want to give the director or some actors that played in your film, if you're reviewing a film. If you're doing something else, like you're reviewing your phone or your computer or maybe a tablet or whatever, make sure that you give some details about the thing you're reviewing. Now sometimes it's necessary to add a second paragraph to your introduction in which you put this basic information, and that's of course not a problem. But important for your review is, again, make sure that it's concise and that you only add information that is relevant. Next, you want to describe the thing that you're reviewing. And it's important that you do this objectively. You don't want to give any opinions yet, since you're simply describing something. Now, in the case of a book or a film or a series, this is the part where you give a plot summary. But it's important to keep it concise, because we're not really interested in all the details of the plot. You also want to avoid giving spoilers here, unless it's very important that you include the ending in your summary, because maybe you want to give your opinion about the ending. In the case of a restaurant or something that you experienced, you want to describe objectively what it is and how it was. What did you experience when you were there? How was the food presented? It is very important to remain objective. You're not giving your opinion in your summary yet. In the case of an object, you want to describe the object you're reviewing. So in the case of a phone, you might want to give something like the measurements, its weight, how it's presented, what it looks like, the colors. Those kinds of things are relevant for an object that you're reviewing. Maybe you want to give specific features of the thing you're reviewing, and only give facts that are necessary and relevant, because you don't want to overload your reader with lots of facts and information that is not very relevant. Now in the case of a phone or an object or something else that has a lot of details, what you could do is put this information in a table. Because then if someone is interested, they can have a look at the table to find this very specific information. Now after you've given the summary, or in this case of an object, after you've described it, you want to give your opinion. What do you think of the product? What do you think of the film? What do you think of the story? Now make sure that when you do this, you write structured paragraphs. And if you need to know more about how to write structured paragraphs, have a look at my paragraph structure video. Now what you could do before you start writing is creating an outline. And in the next video, I will show you how you can create an outline of a review. So make sure that you're subscribed so that you know when this video will be out. Important for your opinion is that you give clear examples. You don't want to give an opinion that's based on something that's very vague or something that doesn't really make sense. So when you're giving your opinion, it is your opinion. And if you found something that you really like, or maybe you don't like, you can use it as an example to illustrate your opinion. Now in each paragraph, make sure that you focus on one particular element. Now I'm not saying that you only need to give 3 sentences per paragraph. Paragraphs could be a bit longer. But make sure that your topic sentence, which describes the element you're focusing on, really connects everything together in your paragraph. So don't add things to a particular paragraph that is not described in your topic sentence. And when you're done, you can link paragraphs together using linking words or linking phrases. And things like however, although, etc. are very good words to use in the case of a review. So after you've done all of this, you've given your summary, you've given your opinion, it's time to write a verdict. Would you recommend this to the person that is reading your review? You want to combine everything you discussed together in a good conclusion, and this conclusion should also follow the upside down funnel shape. Make sure that your review has a clear recommendation, because that's why people are reading your review. Now here are two very useful tips you can use in your own reviews. One thing learners of English usually do is you stick to the same adjectives. And in a review, adjectives and adverbs are very important. So what you could do is avoid particular adjectives by mixing them up and using them in different ways. And one thing to achieve this is by using a thesaurus. In the case of a word like beautiful, you could use something like alluring or maybe something like gorgeous. In the case of something like well written, you could say that something's eloquent. And finally, instead of saying that something is emotional, you could say that something is poignant. Now a thesaurus is key here, and if you notice that you're using a particular adjective several times, have a look in a thesaurus and maybe you can use a different adjective with the same meaning. Now another thing learners of English usually do is put very in front of everything, and that is something that you can simply avoid. So try not to use very too much. Instead of saying that something is very important, for example, you could say that something is crucial. And the same goes for a word like very funny. You can say that it's hilarious. And finally, instead of saying that something is very good, you could say that it's excellent. Now to help you with this, I put a link in the description to an infographic from the people at proofreadingservices.com. And this infographic contains 120 ways to avoid the word very. And that's basically it when it comes to review writing. If you found this video useful, please consider giving it a thumbs up, as that really helps with this video coming along in the YouTube algorithm. If you want to stay tuned, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.